Hear me? Can anyone hear me? Please signify if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Hi. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're joining us from. And I'm actually really glad you all decided to join us on today's data talk with Data Job Ninja. Welcome, welcome. I see that our speaker for today is on the call. Hello.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Welcome.
How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Just a quick one before I give the floor to the speaker for today. I'd just like to say, a little bit about our community and what we stand for, what we do, and what you gain what you get to gain from joining us. So, if I could just have the next slide, please. Okay, right. As you all know, the name of our community is Data Job Nigeria. So you must be wondering, for those that do not know what the community is all about, I'd just like to say that we're a vibrant community of data enthusiasts driven by can't really see the screen. Okay, driven by our passion for exploring, sharing, collaborating on the latest ideas and opportunities. For those who are our community members, you know how we do it. Basically, what we do in the community is we share a lot of resources, we share a lot of job opportunities, anything that we see that can help our fellow data enthusiasts, we make sure we share it to the group. So basically, we're all just trying to, build each other and help each other. So the vision for our community is to foster a dynamic environment where data enthusiasts inspire and empower one another. Just like I mentioned the other time, you cannot be in the community and not feel like you're at home, you know okay, our mission. So our mission is to provide a platform for knowledge. Sorry. Okay, for knowledge exchange and networking, collaboration among data enthusiasts, enabling them to stay informed and um, exploring opportunities in the industry. So basically, what we hope to establish in the community is to make sure that, like I mentioned the other time, you cannot be in the community and not feel like you're at home. So we just want to make sure that everybody is comfortable, with asking questions, interacting with one another. So that's what our community is all about. And apart from sharing job opportunities, sharing learning resources, and just interacting with one another, we also host classes. For example, right now we are running an Excel masterclass. If you are interested in that, there's going to be a link in the chat box to join. And by the 4th of April, we're also going to start a Power BI challenge, where we navigate different Power BI topics, as you all know, Power BI is not just about dashboards and creating reports. It is a whole lot than that. Oh, and sorry for the Power BI challenge. We are starting on the 4th of May and not 4th of April. Pardon me. So it's going to be running from the 4th of May to the end of August. And through our community, a lot of our community members has gotten job opportunities, gigs, referral, you name it, anything, a lot of people have gotten a lot of awesome opportunities from being in the community. So if you are interested in joining, like I mentioned, a link to our WhatsApp group is going to be dropped in the chat box. And then you can also follow us on LinkedIn. Yeah, we are going to be dropping a lot of opportunities, not just on the WhatsApp group. A lot of opportunities are going to be, dropped there. And so everybody can just see them. So hi Deinma or Deinma, is that correct?
It's Deinma, but try it.
Ma-
Fine. Deinma.
right. Pardon me. Sorry about that. So how are you doing today?
Okay, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm great. How's your day been so far?
The day has been good. I've been going well. At least the weekend had to rest.
But you're not resting now. You are here to, share insights with us.
Exactly. Anything
Yeah.
for the community, so that's fine.
Yeah. So I know that you have like a lot for us. I can see slides all packed. But I'll just like to tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's get to know you.
Okay, so can everyone hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
I can hear
Oh,
you.
okay, thank you very much. Okay, so my name is Deinma, right? And for my bio on the screen, you can see I have over 3 years experience as a in the data landscape. However, I trained as a chemical engineer, right? And then I transitioned into data and analytics. That was in 2020. Yeah, that was in 2020. And mostly I've been playing in the financial sector, right? Financial sector space. So in consulting, I work with EY, technology consulting, and I consult for most financial institutions. That's for
Mm-hmm.
their data and analytics workspace. And apart from just being an analytics engineer, just playing with data, I'm also involved in building data governance frameworks, data strategies for organizations, right, that are looking to also unlock value from their data. So data space is just more than data analysis, data engineering, or data science, right? It's a whole lot. So I also delve into data governance, data strategy for organizations. Then right, well, from the my bio it also says that I read wide. Don't ask me the name of the book. Don't ask me the author. I won't remember, but I know that I've read something somewhere. That's the way I know people are different, but someone like me, I read wide. I don't put the name of the book on my head. I don't put the name of the author. I just read. I take what I need from that book and I move. And then, like I said, Candy Crush. Whenever I'm bored or stressed, and I think it also helps me with analytical thinking, which is very important for a data person. So, yeah, so that's just a small intro about me.
Mm. Oh, I love how you structured that Candy Crush. Well, it's it reveals all of our stress, doesn't it? So Candy Crush all
Exactly.
day long. I would like you to tell me a little bit about your role as an analytics engineer at EY. Is this
Okay.
something you've always known you wanted to do, or did you transform from like other data fields into being analytics engineer? Just walk me through that.
Okay. So when I started out right in the data space, I did
Mm,
not really have a full idea of what data and analytics will be, right? The different parts and all of that. So I wanted to, when I started out, the whole buzz of then data science, data science. I said, oh, I want to be
mm,
a data scientist, and I started learning anything and everything. Luckily, I met someone that helped structure like, oh, when you want to start with at least being a data analyst. Then I started as a data analyst, just learning. Then I got my first job in consulting also, right? And the good thing with consulting is it opens you to a wide range of projects, wide range of industries and everything. So while being in that first role as a data analyst, that was the job role. I ended up doing things in data engineering, doing things in data science. Just I was everywhere, right? Doing everything data. And
mhm,
after, like, where they say, oh, I'm a data engineer, you can tell your role, this is what I am doing. When you say you're a data analyst, you can say this is what I am doing, data science, just like that. But then I found out that I'm doing any and everything when it comes to data. I could be building pipelines today, tomorrow I'm building a Power BI dashboard, next tomorrow I'm writing models for I'm building a model, right? And that prompted the, okay, what name do we call this, right? And I know from my slide, you see the first page, when I answered the question, who is an analytics engineer, I think DBT answered it's like very well for me. We are not
mhm,
a data engineer per se. You're not a data analyst. You're just in between a data engineer
Mm,
and a data analyst, right? So I would say that over the years, based on where I started from, if I look at from where I started from, I would say I moved from being a data analyst, data engineer, and now as an analytics engineer, because you do both as a data engineer and a data analyst.
mm. Wow, that's really good. I feel like for a lot of beginners here, we need to like have structure to our learning, because if before you know,
Mhm.
you just be finding yourself in different data fields without even having like a sense of direction. So yes, I can relate
Mhm.
with that. So I know you have like a whole bunch of slides like prepared for us. So I'm just going to let you do your thing, let you talk, and
Okay.
I'll be here. If you have any questions, we'll throw it to you. So over to
Okay.
you, Deinma.
All right. Okay, please can you put in presentation mode, please? Okay. Fine. So, welcome everyone to this session. So, I'll just be demystifying the term analytics engineer, right? So, I know it sounds, oh, this is a new field, but it's not necessarily a new field per se. And I'm sure by the time we get into this discussion, most of you will begin to see that, I think I am an analytics engineer, right? And hopefully by the end of this session, we'll get to understand what analytics who an analytics engineer is and what are their roles. Okay, think I can see some of my bosses on the call. Okay, hi Ola, hi Adeleke. So let's move to the next slide, please. Okay, so today we'll be looking at who an analytics engineer is, and then we'll see the difference between a data engineer and an analytics engineer. Although the difference is not really much, they are complementary. They are not two separate entities. They are really complementary, but we'll just look at a bit of the differences. Then we'll look at the skill set. What do you need to be or to thrive as an analytics engineer? And then we'll talk about, okay, is this a right fit for me? And when we get to this right fit, I'll really dwell a lot here, because most person have the idea that, oh, data and analysis is the buzzword, so I need to go into this field. However, I think there's some limited knowledge about what you need. Like, you need to ask yourself, will I thrive in this field? It's just more than saying it's what is in vogue, let me get into it. So we'll delve into that. And just even out of just analytics engineering, right? Even as a data analyst, as a data engineer, data scientist, whatever you want to be, is this role the right fit for you? And then we'll conclude, and I will have some time to take your questions. Next slide. Okay, so like I said earlier, I got this definition from the DBT website, right? And I really think it captures the definition of who an analytics engineer is, right? So, an analytics engineer is just the middleman between the data engineer, the data analyst, and the business, right? So, the data engineer is all he's cared about is, okay, let me get this data, or the business wants this data, I make it ready for you and I give it to you. You go ahead and you use the data the way you want. But when it comes to an analytics engineer, he or she is very involved with the business. He understands the business needs. He owns the process, right? So let's say, for instance, you are building um a maybe an analytics engineer for an e-commerce store, right? You are not just there as, okay, the store, they've taken some sort of data, the software developers have built an application that have taken data. All I need to do is move the data from point A to point B, make sure it's available when it should be, and give access to data analyst, and that's it. No, the analytics engineer gets to understand the data, right? He knows the business. He understands, okay, when the business says they are running at a loss, it means that maybe someone bought an item and returned it. That's what a loss means. When they say an active customer, they mean someone that has come into their store in the last 7 days. All this information do not really concern the data engineer. His work is, you've given me the data, I'm here to make sure that it's stored optimally, it's moved from one point to the other, I create some models for it, and I give it to the business to use it. But an analytics engineer, in as much as he can also build pipelines, he can model the data. He's also very much involved in the business, right? And he also interfaces with the data analyst. So it's a middleman between the data engineer, the business, and the data analyst. So he has knowledge about engineering. He has knowledge when it comes to building dashboard, version control, CICD, that's continuous integration, continuous deployment. He has all these knowledge. Some persons can say, oh, is this not just a data engineer? Well, we'll see a bit of difference between a data engineer and an analytics engineer. So the analytics engineer, like I say, works with business users, works with data analysts, works with data engineers to provide simple visual representations, okay, making sure that, and again, he ends up communicating the meaning of whatever he has done to stakeholders, co-workers, end users. That is who an analytics engineer is. Let's go to the next slide, please. All right, so let's see the difference between an analytics engineer and a data engineer. Let's go move, please. Okay, so when it comes to focus, the analytics engineer focuses on bringing together data sources to drive consolidated insights. Okay, they build systems to model data in a clean, repeatable way. All right, so he is involved in making sure that the data, wherever they are, right, is in one place, right? He aggregates it, he makes it ready for the data analyst. The data engineer might just his design on building the system, the pipeline. Let's say, for example, you have your production database. Of course, queries can you can't analyze your data on the production database. That's bad practice. So the analytics engineer could be the one to build the system, right? Design it to move the data from the OLTP system to the OLAP systems, right? Making sure that the database storage is optimal and all of that. Data engineer will do that. But when it comes to the analytics engineer, he's involved when it comes to building the data warehouse, right? So data warehouse is where that's where you query from, right? So he's really involved there, making sure that the modeling is optimal, right? The aggregations are right. So he knows more about the business, what the business wants, and he also does that. Then the analytics engineer also collaborates with the business users, like I said earlier, business users, data engineers, data scientists, to make sure that the system is efficient. All right. So he asks the business, okay, what are your requirements? What do you want to see at the end of the day? The business gives him a list of, oh, want to see ABC. Now the analytics engineer will also now collaborate with the data engineer to say, okay, I need this table, that table, or I need this data. Where can I find them? The data engineer tells him, okay, you can find it on this table and that table. Now let me give an instance. Say for instance, I have 2 or 3 different customers table that has different information about the customer. And then I meet the data engineer and I say, oh, I need information about the customer name, the customer address, and his date of birth. And the engineer tells me, oh, for customer name, you can find it on X table, his date of birth, Y table, and maybe his place of work, Z table, right? As an analytics engineer, what I would then do is to try to combine these tables together to just form one table that the data analyst would then feed from, right? So I understand the business and then I collaborate with other team members to make sure that I have an efficient data system, right? While the data engineer mostly is with other technical team members, he rarely interfaces with the business. It's more of other technical team members, maybe the software developers, the UI, UX, and all of that. He collaborates with them. And when it comes to the business area, I've said this before, the relationship with the business, he understands the business very well, right? He understands their needs. It's not just about, oh, when you need something, I just give you the table. No, he's part of the business. He knows what the business wants. He understands the buzzwords in the business. Like the earlier example I gave, if the business says, oh, this is what we call active customers, he understands that. He knows what active customer is. He knows what inactive customer mean. He knows what it means that a business is losing money. He is involved with the business. So it's a mixture of both the business side and the technical side. While a data engineer is just focused on his data system, very little knowledge of the business. He doesn't really need to know so much. All he cares about is, okay, you want the data, I can point to you where the data is. what table to plug in, and that's it. And when it comes to optimization, the analytics engineer focuses on optimizing data models and query optimization. Don't forget that you're querying databases and you don't want to query, maybe write a query and it runs for hours, right? So analytics engineers make sure that the data models, whether it's a conceptual data model whether it's database data model is making sure that it's optimized. Whatever query he's writing is also optimized. Data engineer is just optimizing data storage, making sure that wherever the data is being stored is stored in an optimal manner. Data quality after his pipelines are up and running, and all of that. And when it comes to governance, because the analytics engineer also understands the business so well, he can create and enforce data governance policies, right? He can also build and maintain a company data catalog, also called the data dictionary, right? He can also do that because he understands the business. So, for instance, he knows that, okay, this column means this to the business. He can give a good definition of that column. The data engineer might not know the best definition for a column. Yes, he might know some, but the analytics engineer will have more knowledge of what each column in the data means because he interfaces directly with the business. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's talk about the skill set that is needed to thrive in this field. And this is not just for only the analytics field. I think it's for um, any data field, in any data role you choose to go to. Next slide, please. So we have both the technical skills, right, and the non-technical skills. Okay, so for technical skills, SQL, you have to be really good with SQL. Like I tell people, SQL is the Bible of a data person. You cannot say you're a data engineer, data analyst, whatever, without knowing SQL. In short, I rate SQL higher than even Python or R. They are good, you need to know them, but I even rate SQL higher. You need to be proficient with SQL. Then any other programming language, maybe Python or R, that's fine. Then you need to understand database systems. So it's one thing to just know, okay, there's different types of databases, maybe SQL Server, MySQL, Postgres. You need to understand how they work, right? You need to understand what is partitioning, okay, what is indexing. Why do I need to do this? Why do I need to partition my system? Why do I need on what column do I partition? You need to understand what data warehousing means. You need to understand the types of slowly changing dimensions. There's a whole lot you need to understand when it comes to database systems. They need to understand ETL processes and the tools. So ETL, that is extract, transform, load. Some persons do extract, load, transform. Anyway, they're all the same thing. Well, they are different, but you get the drift. So you need to understand ETL processes and the tools used for ETL processes. And one thing I want to say here is you don't need to learn all the ETL tools, right? No one be grounded in it because at the end of the day, they're all similar, right? They're all similar, but no one and be grounded in it. Then data visualization, you should be familiar with data visualization tools, whether it's Power BI, whether it's Tableau, Matplotlib, just be familiar with data visualization tools. And then you also should be familiar with version control since you'll be doing a whole lot of collaboration with other team members. You should also be good with that, maybe with Git and all of that. Then when it comes to the non-technical aspect, right, we have domain knowledge. As an analytics engineer, domain knowledge is so important. You need to understand the business. You need to understand the industry requirements. You will not do well if you don't understand the business. So domain knowledge is a must, right? Then you must have good communication skills. If you struggle to convey the message, the insights from the data, or what you are even doing, it will be difficult, right, to thrive in this field because you have to interface with business. You need to understand what they are telling you, even before what you want to give back to them. You need to understand what they are telling you. So you need to have good communication skills and then attention to details. You have to be someone that gives good attention. Like you can spot errors somewhere, you can spot inconsistency in data. You take your time and you look at the data and you can say, oh, there's a problem with this data is not accurate, or there's some quality issues with the data, then you must have a strong problem solving ability. Sure, this is not just for an analytics engineer, this is for in any data field. If you are someone that you give up easily, this field will, like, you can't thrive here, because you need to, when you see a data issue, you have that ability to stay and say, okay, I stay until I solve that issue. So you must have that strong problem solving ability, the ability to work in a team. Don't forget, you're interfacing with a whole lot of persons. So you can't say, oh, I can do all by myself. No, you must have that ability to work in a team, right? To share ideas, to ask for feedback and all of that. Then project management. I'm sure it's been like, project management. Am I a project manager? Well, when you get to become an analytics engineer, you end up managing some sort of project in some sort of capacity. You might not need to go right the whole PMP and all of that, but you might need to manage some sort of project, right? Especially when it comes to, maybe you're building a data warehouse that the analysts will use and all of that. You need to have some project manage abilities. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Good. Now, is this the right fit for me? Like I said earlier, this is not just dwelling on only analytics engineer, right? Going to also speak about even in the data field, right? Do you being a data analyst, is it a right fit for me? A data engineer, an analytics engineer, is it what I want to do? Is will I find fulfillment in this career path? Now, it's a great path. Don't get me wrong. Being an analytics engineer, in short, being in the data and analytics space is very rewarding. It's fulfilling for many people. But then you need to ask yourself, is this the right fit? Am I just going with the whole buzzword? Oh, this is what is in vogue. People are promising me that once I learn data and analytics in 3 months, I become a senior data analyst. Is this the right fit for me? The first thing, ask yourself, are you interested in data analysis? Right? Can you sit down with numbers, right? Working with numbers for long hours. Is that what interests you? If it doesn't, then this is not a right fit for you, especially analytics engineering. It's not the right fit for you. If you don't, because you work with so much data, you perform analysis to derive insights. So if you have little interest, or you find working with numbers tedious, then you can't enjoy and you can't thrive in this role. Now, when it comes to problem solving, if you are one that once you are hit with a difficult problem, you tend to back down and like, I'm done with this, you will struggle, right? Because you can actually meet dead ends. I've been on projects where you just want to get one business requirement and you are on it for 2 hours, 3 hours, just trying to figure out one business requirement. It can get that tedious. So if you are one that you give up easily, then forget about this role. And this is not me trying to tell you that you can't thrive in tech per se. There are other roles in tech that you can go into and you will thrive. But when it comes to data and analytics, you need to have a strong problem solving skill. So you must be good with analytical thinking, right? Sit down, pick, you can look at data set. You've not even started working with the data, right? But you can look at it and begin to see patterns in the data. You can understand the data, right? Analytical thinking. Okay, why is this like this? Why not A? Why, for example, let me give an instance. You are looking at a data, right? And then month on month, you are seeing that the store has making between, let's say, 10 to 20,000. And all of a sudden, in the month of June, you are seeing 200,000. That should make you think something is wrong somewhere. You can't just say, well, that's the data they gave to me, I do it that way. No, right? You need to also sit down like, something is wrong somewhere. How come over the month I'm seeing 10,000, 20,000, all of a sudden this month I'm seeing 200,000? Something is wrong somewhere. So that's where even attention to detail comes in. You can't say, oh, that is what they gave me, I will work with it like that. No, you must give attention to detail. You must have great analytical thinking, problem solving skills. Then, if you struggle with communication, you also struggle in this role. So you must have effective communication, and not only communicating what you have found, but also trying to get even the business requirements, right? Even when you communicate with other team members, and this is just more than technical discussions, right? Because when you're talking to a data engineer, you know your buzzword, you can use your big technical words. But when you are speaking with the business, you must be able to break down those big words into smaller words for the business to understand, or whoever is you are working with to understand. So if you struggle with communicating and even working in a team, then being an analytics engineer will also be a struggle for you. Then if you dislike coding, because of course you code, and this is not just only Python, SQL can get tedious at times, right? When you get into the advanced SQL and all of that, it can actually get tedious, can get a bit difficult, right? So if you dislike coding or working with data pipelines, then this is not the field for you, because you will have to code. Yes, we've had um technologies now that have tried to make it very low code or even no code at all to do some data engineering things or analytics engineering, but at the end of the day, you will find out that you still need to code at some point. Then lack of curiosity. If you are not curious, right, you also struggle here. If you are not open to continuous learning, an analytics engineer keeps learning. You can't stop learning, and you need to keep adapting, because business needs changes. Today they might tell you that they are just analyzing only customers based on maybe their age. Tomorrow they come back and tell you, oh, we want to add A, B, C, D. Next tomorrow, so you must keep learning. You must keep adapting to the business, not only just the tools that you are using, but even to the business, and then even to the tool that you are using. Because even a business can decide to change their tools. They can decide, say, okay, we want to move from using SQL Server, we want to go to Postgres. What then do you do? Do you say, oh no, I thrive only in SQL Server, I can't move? No, you need to keep learning. Maybe they want to move from on-prem to the cloud. Maybe they want to move to Azure or AWS. Will you say, no, I thrive just in on-prem environments? You become obsolete at some point, because most organizations are moving to the cloud. So you must be open to continuous learning and adaptation. Okay, so I think with this have really given would I say some points to help you to sit and ask yourself, is this the best fit for me? Will I thrive in being a data and analytics person, or even an analytics engineer? So in conclusion, it's a rewarding field. Don't get me wrong. It's very interesting. It's rewarding. It's fulfilling. At least for those that, for me, let me not say for those. For me, it's fulfilling. It's rewarding. And at first, you enjoy working with data and finding insights in data, you will thrive here. So you need to also gauge your interests, right, and your alignment with the required skills and responsibility to determine if this career path is the right fit for you. All right. Thank you very much for your time. So I think we still have some time to take questions.
Oh wow,
Let's like
Deinma, you said a lot. Yeah, making me feel like I should just switch career paths and start as an analyst
well,
engineer.
you're welcome.
That's like
You're
really
welcome.
good. So does anyone have any question?
Yeah, I think I have a question, Dima.
Okay.
Okay, please go
You
ahead.
know, the problem with people is that when they want to switch to a new career path like this, people are always very overwhelmed, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are overwhelmed
Okay.
with the buzzwords. They are overwhelmed, when they are still trying to even learn how to use Power BI for visualization. Somebody is talking about Snowflake. Somebody else is talking about Docker. This one is talking about Azure. So it's just a lot of things. So there are some basic terminologies that I would like you to just quickly talk about. I saw that you talked about version control. So my question is like four in one, but let me just quickly just say them. So number one, version control, and you talked about CI/CD, right? What did
Mm-hmm.
you call CI/CD? I've forgotten. CI/CD.
And continuous integration, continuous deployment.
Good. So for people that are on this call, that might be data analysts as of now, or they are BNL, they might not even understand that. I've not even Like I heard somebody talk about it before. I think it was Yomi that talked about it the other day. I've not done anything on that before. So I want you to like
On
just
what?
give
I
like a
don't get that
brief
on what?
on version control
Okay.
and CICD, so that people really understand what it means. That's number one. Uh, how do you feel? Because coming to the part of the domain knowledge, I think is also an issue for people. Because,
Okay.
for example, I am a data professional. I'm working in logistics, or I'm interested in logistics. So, what is your advice for people when it comes to them understanding the domain knowledge? Should they wait till when they get inside the company and start learning the business process and everything, or are there courses they can take? Is there some articles or resources that they need to go and look at so that they could understand the domain knowledge of the business that they are into, right? And
Okay.
also, you talked about number three, you talked about ETL tools, right?
Mhm.
But you said there's a lot of them. I think you should like tell us exactly the ones that they could learn that could serve as basis for them to start with, right? And also, I
Mhm.
want to also touch base on cloud technologies. What's your advice on people learning cloud technologies also? So those are like my four in one question. I think after that, mostly is also raising up her hand. Maybe after my own question, she could ask her question too.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Benga, for that question. It's a lot, but I try to go through all of them as fast as I can. So for the first one, version control, right? So you can be building a pipeline, okay, and let's say there are two, three, four of you building a pipeline or doing something on the pipeline, right? And you don't want to uh, wait for one person till he's done and then you start your own. It's just the same way software engineering. You are writing some codes and then you uh, push it to Git, so someone else pulls it and then you publish, you put join it to the main branch and all of that. So that's the same thing with data analytics, right? You are building a pipeline. I'm building, someone else is building, I build my own, I put it to Git. And then that version control also helps you. So you can also roll back to a previous version. So let's say, for example, have built the first pipeline, have published it, maybe it's in production now, and then I find out that the business wants something else, okay, and then I start building a new one, okay, and then I push it and find out, oh, it's something is broken somewhere. Because I have done version control, I can go back, I can roll back to the previous one, right? So that's just version control, continuous integration, continuous deployment. That's just what it is. Making sure that, oh, when I build new one, we test it, right? It goes from building, development, testing it, and then push to production. So it's just continuous. It's not manual, right? It's automated. So it just keeps updating. Then if there's an issue, it rolls back to maybe a previous version and all of that. So it's more of less like an automated way that this works. Then when it comes to domain knowledge, if I would advise, if you've not gotten into any, you've not gotten your maybe your first data job, just learn as much as you can, learn more of the tools, right? Because you really don't know what field you are getting into yet. Like I said earlier, I trained as a chemical engineer, but now I deal more with the financial institutions. So I had to learn more about financial institutions now, right? So what I did was just learning the tool. Okay, I know how to use Power BI. Okay, I learned Power BI, I learned Python, Excel, and all of that. Okay, but then once you get that first job, then you need to focus. Okay, if this is the domain that I'm going to, this is where I'm in now, I must learn about this business. Okay, then there are some, then also if you're interested in a particular domain, there's no harm in going to learn more about it, read up on it and all of that. But in my opinion, I think the best bet to be learn the tools with different data sets, different domain. When you get into one, then you focus on that one and learn more about that domain. Okay, then for the ETL tools, right, there are a lot: extract, transform, load. You have SSIS, right? That's for an on-prem solution, SSIS. Then if you're looking at cloud solutions, you can use Azure Data Factory, that's by Microsoft. I know you can use DBT. I know DBT is more just for transformation. It's the T, not really for extract and load. DBT is mostly for the transformation. I know that AWS has AWS Glue. Yes, the Glue. I think that's their own pipeline, the Glue. I can't remember what's their name. I can't remember. Google's ETL tool. Can't remember Google's ETL tool,
Is
but
it
I
is
know
it
they can
BigQuery
also,
or GCP
no,
or what?
no, BigQuery is just their data, is their data lake.
Okay.
I've forgotten the name of their what's the name of their ETL tool. So there are different. I think a simple Google search can help you see different ETL tools. There are also open source tools. You can even write Python scripts for your ETL, right? Most these tools that I call, most of them are just drag and drop, right? Click here, right? But you can also write Python scripts for your ETL processes. Then, what do I think about cloud technologies? I would say that it's important to have an idea about them because most businesses are beginning to move to the cloud, right? And since they are moving to the cloud, it's an added advantage to you if they see that, okay, you have some cloud idea, whether it's AWS, whether it's GCP, whether it's Azure, right? I know in the African space, it's mostly Azure, that's Microsoft, that's really here, but there's no harm in at least getting to understand the cloud technologies. And when you're going to even learn about the cloud technologies, don't forget that the cloud technologies covers every area of tech. So make sure you're focused on the data part. It's not like you're now going to uh, understand how to host a server or how to host a website. You really do not know need that information as a data person, right? You can start looking at things about data warehouse in the cloud, ETL tools in the cloud, your SQL server in the cloud, and all of that. So you look at the data aspect when you're looking at the cloud technologies, your data lake, streaming analytics, Cosmos DB, MongoDB, and all of that. At least anything that concerns data. So I would think that looking into cloud technologies will also be beneficial for anyone, at least in this day and age. I don't know if that answered your question, Benga.
Thank you very much. Yes, I appreciate.
Okay, I think a hand is up. Silly, please go ahead with your question.
Hello, Dema. Thank you very much for this amazing session. Yeah, so my question is a little bit about, it's sort of funny. So I know what the
About
pay
what?
range for. Can you hear me?
Yes, it's about what, please?
So I actually want to know what to expect in terms
Okay.
of pay range for an analytics engineer. So from your presentation, I could see that you said as an analytics engineer, it encompasses being a data analyst, being a data engineer, and knowing the business. So I just want to be sure that if I were to land any interview, I want to know what I should be, what I would tell the recruiter my desired pay range, if you perhaps have any idea, especially for Nigerian market.
Um, I can't really say, right, when it comes to pay range because it's at the end of the day it depends on the company. Okay, like there's some companies that you do everything. Okay, and it's not like your designation is analytics engineer. Maybe they just called you a data analyst, but see yourself doing some building some pipelines or building and building some models and all of that. I think at the end of the day, it depends on what you think they should pay you, right? Because I can't tell you, oh, this is the pay range. It varies company to company. It depends on the company. So I think that question is a bit it's a bit, I don't know how I want to put it, but I can't really point like, okay, look at this range because I might tell you a particular pay range and someone else will be like, that's too much, I'm not ending up to that, or someone might be, oh, that's too small, it should be more. But just know that when you get in, okay, and it's not really so much of a big deal, at least in Nigeria, that name, analytics engineer, right? It goes, it said, please tell us a range. Okay, if I give you a range, maybe I could say maybe between shoot maybe 250, 500, between that, based on how much you can bargain and your years of experience. Don't forget that you can't just start out as an analytics engineer. That's another thing we should also know. You can't start out, I'll say it's too low. It's actually very low, Sha, but I just want to play it safe, especially in the Nigerian market, because you can't even start out as an analytics engineer, right? It's more or less maybe as data analyst or you're a data engineer, and then you find yourself doing all of that before you then come to like, okay, I think I'm an analytics engineer. Okay, but that range is low. I understand it's quite low. At least the lower bound that I called is quite low. It should start from, let's say, 500 up. But you get what I mean? But I think it's, at the end of the day, ends it ends on it depends on you, and also depends on the company. You can't go to maybe a startup that is just starting and trying to think they'll just give you a very big amount. And there are some companies that you know that okay, they are capable, and you can also ask for that amount. So I think it depends on the company at the end of the day.
Hello, Deinma.
Hi.
I think the reason why she's asking that question is because there are some career paths that there will be like a how will I put this in English? There will be like a starting point to say if you're if you're a junior AE, if you're a starter in this career path, you should not
Okay.
take less than this particular amount based on the kind of
Okay.
skill set that you own. So it's just like a way of orientating people in general that you can have all of these skills. Like, okay, let's say, for example, you're just starting the career path. What should be the minimum that you should be asking for? With all the skill sets. And we have time to have like 2 or 3 years experience. Like, how much can you start bargaining and all of those things? So, I think people really need to actually. So let's
Okay.
straight out to everybody now to the house. So also your guys in the house, and not only you, so that you, because it's
Okay.
really,
Yeah, that's true.
you understand. It's just like an
Yeah,
orientation.
but another thing I would say is if you're a starter, you've not had any work experience at all. You've not, because I'll be honest with you, cargo data is very different from enterprise data. Like there are two different types of data, right? So if you've not, and most businesses just imagine them giving you their data, and then you're a beginner, they are scared. Let's not go and drop table one day for them, or you get, so to expect, let's say, 500,000 as a beginner, I think that's an overreach, right? But at least if you've been in the field, in the data field, for at least 2 years, that's even small, right? If you have been in data field for at least 2 years, that's even small. But it's open to the house, please. Any other contribution? Ola, I can see you on the call. Please add to this. Ola, Adeleke, I even saw Ademola on the call. So I think can add to.
So salary is a very, very dicey subject to speak about, but I think there are, when you look at an analytics engineer uh, from the point of view of skill sets and stuff is more or less a data engineer that is focused on business intelligence, right? That's more on the business side. So what 400, 450 is a lot, is very, very low for any serious company. But again, you have to look at the year of experience, what skill you are bringing in. Because most people don't start career as analytics engineer. Probably they've started as data analyst and they're working their way up. But for analytics engineer, you should be looking at something 700 and above, depending on the industry. Now, there are different cases. I mean, the salary is almost similar to that of a data engineer, right? Just that there might be some variations in the pay and in the stuff. I mean, I know data analysts that earn way above 1 million in this country, right? And there are people that
Correct.
it depends on the level, you understand? So you can
Exactly.
work in an organization where the data analysts earn more than the data engineer just because of seniority and pay grade kind of stuff. But when you look at the prospect for opportunities out there, maybe you are looking at the foreign gig market, you realize that the salaries of a data engineer and an analytics engineer are not too far from each other. But in Nigeria, HR will price things anyhow. So there is all kinds of stuff that you are going to get.
Okay. Thank you, Ola. Ademola.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dema, for the session. And just like Ola has said, salary, especially in this country, you have to be very careful not to set, so that beginners or people who are looking to go into this field will not have their expectation raised too high, and
Right.
then make them kind of lose interest. But one very important thing about analytics engineer, like Dema has emphasized, is the fact that you can you won't start at it's not a beginner level. In
Exactly.
data, you must have been doing something in data. So that would mean that you've had experience. So I would say that at least 500,000 would be a good starting point for anyone that is, entering the role and is bargaining for salary. Because you must have had experience, at least 2 years experience in data before you can say you are an analytics engineer. So I would think that maybe, in the range of 500,000 would be a good starting point in this current economic condition. Anything less than that would be, you know, I would feel like you're shooting yourself in the foot. So that's my own addition to the discourse.
All right. Thank you, Ademola. Okay, I don't know if that answered your question or you want to get more
Mostly,
detail.
does that
No,
did that
thank
answer your
you. Thank
question?
you. Thank
Okay,
you very much.
okay,
Okay. All right then. So any other question, please?
okay. Dema, sorry, I'm disturbing you with questions. I was also putting this. This is for enthusiasts and those that are starting up. So
Okay.
I would like you to, okay, let me just say this, but I would like you to be the one to buttress what I'm trying to say. A lot of people, this was the discussion I had with you before this program, and also I had with some of the guys in the house. And somebody I was also speaking to yesterday is in the US, and we had this same discussion. Now, I believe where you start your career really matters a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first company you work or where you are currently working at the moment. There are some companies that in fact, I've worked in places, some people here can be a witness, that it was looking as if I was begging them to even look at my dashboard. There are some companies like that that they can you waste your time, they will waste your destiny, right? I would never advise anybody to work in those kind of companies. Now, for the sake of career growth, there's this thing that people say on the community group that like don't take less than this or don't take less than 500 or all those things are good, right? But
Mm-hmm.
there is a place of learning at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning. There is a place of
Exactly.
challenge. There's a place of struggle. I really want you to buttress this thing very well and talk to people that are just starting. So they should not believe that because they started learning Power BI now, they know small Power BI and Excel, and they went to watch some videos on Azure now. They should now start saying they deserve to start collecting 300, 500, 700. I'm not saying that it's not good to bargain well and all those things, but I will advise everybody to, if you are just starting, start with consulting. Consulting will really challenge you and put you up to speed. That's my advice to people. So I just wanted to buttress this point very well based on your own experience and what has really helped you to grow in this career path. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Benga. So like he rightly said, starting out, it's not the time to start asking for overreaching salary, right? I know my bosses are on the call and they can bear me witness. When I started out, what I was earning was the money I was earning was what I just for transport money alone. That was what it covered. Just go to the office and go back to my house, and that was all. Right? It was that low. Okay. But I knew that I would learn a lot. Okay. So when you are starting out, I advise people at that point, don't look at the money, especially if you think that okay, say where you can sustain yourself that period, right? Don't really look at the money yet. Look at what you are going to learn and the information you will gather by doing, or you can even exactly you can even opt for internship. You can even opt for, if you have the means, even free internship. Say okay, I want to intern with you, let's say 6 months. Even if you don't want to pay me, let me just, because I really want to play with data. But most organizations, once they see that, you've not touched real data, you've not touched company data, you might be a bit skeptical, right, to let you come in. Unless maybe some companies that are doing maybe some graduate trainees and all of that. So look at consultant, even in the consulting, I would advise startups. I don't know. I think startups, when it comes to consulting, startups, you can look at those companies, especially those that are really focused on data and analytics, right? You can look at that because it's a fast-paced environment. You tend to learn a lot in a short while. If you want to go to the already established consulting that everybody has their roles already, you might struggle a bit because you're not having that ginger. Of course, maybe they might repay you well, big money, but then you're not really learning as much as you will learn if you go to maybe a startup or a just a small boutique firm that's starting up, and yeah, because there you might end up doing everything, right? Exactly. You might end up doing everything, both as a data analyst, data engineer. You might even be doing some project management, some software. But the good thing with all of this is you tend to learn. Right? Like when I started out, I think it was just 1 year learning where I was in the small consulting firm that I was before I moved over to EY where I am. Right. And within that 1 year, I learned a whole lot too enable get into EY as an experienced associate, not just someone coming in, right? So I think starting out is very important. Don't look for the big money or if you don't pay me this, I won't. Go for the knowledge, go for what you will gain from them, right? I think there are some companies in even in this Lagos where I work was Intel Fort, right? It's a data and analytics firm. It's a small consulting firm, but they consult for most financial institutions and all of that. So it's a fast-paced environment. I would even advise a fast, especially if you know you are ready to commit to it and you won't get there and start complaining because to be sincere, the work can actually be very tasking, like overwhelming. But like I said, strong problem solving skills, right? Fast-paced environment. You should be ready to put in your best. And like Ola said, if you say 2 years and there's no and there's no if your salary did not double after 2 years, switch company. I agree with Ola. Right, this field is lucrative. There's always opening, but the opening now is mostly for experienced people. Most of when you're looking at job openings, it's always experienced hires. So as a beginner, please look for where don't look at the money yet. Just look for where you go and learn. When you learn, you'll be the one to be declining job offers. Ben, I don't know if that's
Yes, thank you
answered.
very much. Thank you very much. The reason for me telling to buttress that point, let me just cap it off, is because of the kind of people who have this kind of orientations that when they start out the career, they should be earning big, blah, blah, blah. Not even that. The main cocoa is that people are not ready to sacrifice. Like, for example, I know you talked about the times that you had to work on things that you've not even done before, and you had to learn a lot, was the fast-paced environment and everything like that. So my own advice for people is generally is just for them to start, if they could start with consulting, even if they get on pay, let them suffer that suffering for some, it's for just for a while. Naturally, when you have the skill, the opportunity will follow you. Naturally.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even struggle too much. If you really know what you are doing, you will get the opportunity. So yeah, just thank you. Kingsley wants to say something. Kingsley Okoko.
Okay.
Good evening. Thank you for this section. I really enjoyed it. But please, I have a question, right? And I don't know if you'll be in a position to answer. How, how to answer it? I've been trying my hands on consulting firms like
Okay.
PwC, EY, and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, when I look at their job requirement based on the job I'm looking for, I 100% meet all of them. There's no doubt. But
Okay.
what shocks me most of the time is that once I apply, I don't pass that stage of like, okay, let's invite you for interview. That's another crazy part. So I don't know if even my CV, I have to like be updating my CV based on the role, because if once I look at the requirement, oh, I meet actually all this requirement, let me just repackage my CV and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I still do not get past just no normal. They will just be sending love letters and stuff like that. And at that point, it put me in a position to ask myself is what exactly am I doing wrong? Or what is it that I'm not doing right or something?
Okay. So my question would be like, how many years of experience do you have in the data field?
4 years.
4 years. Okay.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know how I want to put it in these firms and why they are not calling you back. I think maybe another way you can do is to reach out to what's the name? Is to reach out to, okay, Benga wants to answer the question. But let me just say they can reach out to someone, maybe a partner or a what's the name? Or a recruiter, the HRO, maybe on LinkedIn, right? To just get um that connection with them or something. But I really don't know why they are not calling you back. Benga, please, you
Mm.
want to take this question? Let you
Okay,
answer.
yes. Sorry to uh disturb. Kingsley, are you there? So
Yes, boss, I'm
the
here.
more we keep applying for jobs, the more we get wiser, right? Day by day. In fact, looking for job is a job on its own. Even
Mm-hmm.
me, there I am like this. I still dey struggle my own. You understand? It's not like it's a abroad thing or a Nigerian thing. It's everywhere, right? Now, the first thing is that the competition is very tight. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some people that it's not as if they are that good, oh, but they can talk, they can convince, they understand interview dynamics very
Mm-hmm.
well, and they're always using that to get opportunities. So imagine yourself, you have the technical know-how, you know how to do this and that. But number one, it might be that where the issue is coming from is that it might be your application. Now, in the sense that let's look at the context of this ATS machine that companies use to filter CVs these days, right? It's everywhere throughout the whole world. Now, they create this machine so that it helps them filter out those that in their resume, their job description, experience, and title is not corresponding with exactly what they are looking for. Because when these ATM machines, when they read this resume, they know the exact keywords that they need to pick out from your resume. They know the kind of experience that the AI will pick out from your resume and all of those. Now, the reason why sometimes we are not getting interviews because of that ATS machine is a problem. It's because it's not even your resume is not even getting to the recruiter that will give you the first job interview, not to talk of taking you to the hiring manager. So it's a very big issue everywhere in the world. That's why these days you see that everybody's now using ChatGPT and some other AI tools to build a resume to make sure that they get the exact keywords. Now, there's something I learned from somebody yesterday. It's a trick. Oh. If you are building your resume using Word, right? Now, all those white spaces in between in between lines, in between your one job, the maybe one company that you work for and the other company, you will write some keywords in between and you will make it white font. So if your background is white, you also make those keywords white so that nobody's going to see it, right? Normally, nobody will see it because the background is blending with the font, right? But the keywords will appear several times, and by the time you know, it will give you a chance for your resume to get to the recruiter and maybe probably the hiring manager too. Those are the kind of tricks that people have been using because looking for a job will make you adapt to different
Mm-hmm.
ways of doing of doing things. I'm telling you, even me, I'm still learning when it comes to applying for jobs. I'm telling you. So, first of all, if they are looking for data engineer, make sure that in all your resume, everywhere you've worked before, use that job title there, right? Let that job title be consistent in everywhere you've worked. Now, if they say they need somebody that can write Python script to move data from this to this, Make sure that everywhere you work, that sentence of using Python scripting to do this and that appears in every job description at every place that you worked. Because those are one of the things that AI will read and say this CV can move to the recruiter. And it's because recruiters are lazy. They don't want to start printing out CVs and start now looking at it by themselves. They don't even know those things. You might be very surprised that they don't even know it. Their own job is just to get the person to the hiring manager, and the hiring manager will decide whether they want to hire the person or not based on some things, right? Now, another thing is that apart from the resume part, I have done interviews that nobody even, in fact, in those interviews, they don't even care about your technical skills. I'm telling you, sometimes some hiring managers are very different and dynamic. They want to know the part of culture fit, right? How do you collaborate with people? How do you gather requirements? How do you work? How do you interpret how do you interpret technical things to non-technical people? Those are the things that sometimes they test. If you cannot even pass that stage, in fact, there's this thing I learned recently about star approach. I just decided to learn that too. Because as I told you, I'm also learning. Everybody's learning. Star approach is situation, task, what's it called? Situation, task, is it approach and results, or what's it called? You will use when you are interviewing with a recruiter or a hiring manager, you must have like 3 or 5 projects that you use that approach to explain that this was situation, what was the task, right? What was the approach? What was the action? Yeah, A is for action. And what was the result after you did this and that? It's very important to if we are not careful, we just keep complaining and complaining that we are not getting opportunities, we are not getting jobs, they are not calling us for that. You need to play by the game. You need to understand the rule. You need to understand. So no matter how technical you are, if you don't know how to do all of the basic, like understand interview dynamics and all of those, there's some people that they can. Okay. Let me give you an example. Recently, I met a man. He's here in Canada. This man did a video call with me. I saw 4 laptops on his table. I said, what are you using 4 laptops? He said he's doing 4 different remote jobs. And he said he's not even that good, though, but he knows how to answer questions. He's very good in, like, he understands. He has done so many times. He understands where to pin them. He can make them trust him with the way he answers questions. And it's somebody like that you are not competing with in an interview, and you are not that good with oral, but all you focus on is technical. It will be an issue at the end of the day. So I think those are the things that we really need to work on. We should work on interview skills more. As we are learning technical is good, but interview skills is another thing that you need to learn entirely. It's different from technical. So that's just my own contribution. Thank you.
All right,
All
thank
right,
you.
thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate. Thank you.
Okay. All right, data guy, I think your hand is up.
Okay, let me start by saying that this is a very good session. Thank you for bringing this up. I just want to add to the last contributor. I want to add few things to it. One thing I've also realized is this: if at any time you are applying for jobs and are not getting feedback, always go back, especially your CV. Always go back to rewrite your CV. It's something a lot of people normally neglect. You are trying to get a job, you are submitting CV, your CV feels like it's a very good one, and you're submitting it, you're not getting feedback. There's something missing there. Sometimes it's not even ATS. Sometimes your CV will even pass through the ATS and get to exactly where you want it to get to. Before you talk of communication skill and every other thing, which are also very important, the first thing is for them to call you. So if you're not calling you, if you're not getting feedback, you've been able to apply for job 3 4 months, no feedback. Go and don't even waste your time. Go and write your CV. These are things. See, there was a time that what people want to see in your CV are projects you've worked on, tools you have used, right? It got to a time they want to see how much you have used how much you have been able to do to help business see value, share you get. So, and the unfortunate part of it is that what each of the companies are looking at for in your CV differs from one, it differs. So automatically, as soon as you start doing pam, 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 nothing is coming out. Just pick that CV up and do another one. And then make sure that you have more than one CV. If you are the type that wants to, you are targeting data analytics, you are targeting analytical engineering, you are targeting data engineering, make sure you have separate CVs for each of them.
Exactly.
And make sure that the job position targets each one of them. Now, you cannot tell me how good you are. You are looking for what you want to work as a data engineer in a company. I'm supposed to interview you. I'm supposed to go through your CV. And all I could see, data analyst, analytical engineering. No matter how good you are, we may end up not bringing you in because what you have there is not what we are looking for. So this thing I'm talking about also happened to me. There was a time I was looking for a job. I was just submitting my CV and I was not getting anything. And my CV looks to me like the best CV out there, and nothing was coming. And then I changed my CV. And every day I was getting phone calls. Every day. Phone calls. Do you want job here? Do you want job here? You say your CV here was very impressive. And I was asking myself, oh, if only I'd been doing this in the last 3-4 months, then let me now add this last one. Another very, very important thing you need to do. I always tell people this one: throw yourself out there. It's one of the best. The best way to get a job is referral. So throw yourself out there. A lot of us, we just want to stay in one corner. You have to throw yourself out there. People are out there on job sites, LinkedIn and everywhere that do what you are doing. You're not following them. You're not responding to their posts. You're not reposting their post that is very okay and writing something about what they wrote. You're not writing anything there. Nobody knows you. I've seen a lot of people who got called for jobs because people saw what they posted. I said, can we have a discussion? There was a time somebody, let me just wrap up with this. There was a time, there's this guy made AI. There was a guy when they were starting. I could still see the message. I used to just blame myself every day whenever I remember. When we were starting, I think sometimes last year, the guy reached out to me. So the guy was reaching out to people. I think we had to Zach and a few other people, and he was asking that they should work with them maybe for free or something, or just give them advice. I still see the meeting invite the guy sent to me personally and was asking me. But as at that time, I think one, I was busy. Two, I had few other things I was doing that would probably not. But now I always just tell myself that it's not, whatever excuse I have was not enough for me not to have responded positively to him, and that would have actually helped my circle of friends in one way or the other, right? And maybe an avenue for me to start something myself too. So the point I'm trying to make that throw yourself out there, respond positively to DMs and things like that. Be enthusiastic about meeting people. Be free in your mind, and then make sure you work every time your CV. Take your CV like it's a full-time job. Mm. And then don't put money too much at the back of your mind. The money will come. Just take that too. It will come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Data Guy, and every single person that has contributed to this questions and to this topic of an analytics engineer. And thank you very much, Deinma, for honoring our call. I'm sure every single person here has gotten a few things from what you said. But most importantly, does anyone have any question? Okay, I will just assume that no one has any question. I mean, a lot has been said, so I'm not sure if anyone has any other question. So guys, like I mentioned at the beginning, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, and you can also join our WhatsApp community to connect more with people that are on the call. And again, our Power BI challenge is starting on the 4th of May till the end of August. So if you're interested in that, more details will be coming soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Zena. I appreciate everybody. Thank you, Deinma. Thank you, Ola, everybody that has contributed to this webinar.
Mhm.
I really appreciate everybody. This is the WhatsApp link. You can just snap that on your phone and you can use this link to join the community. And also, we'll be starting some challenges very soon, just like Zainab mentioned earlier. We'll be starting a Power BI challenge that will cover like almost 35 topics in Power BI, different kind of case study topics that we'll be talking about. And it will start from May 4 and run to the end of August probably. And we are hoping that it's going to be something cool, something that is collaborative and people could share ideas and we could challenge ourselves to better our Power BI knowledge. So I'll be expecting you to join. For those that are not in the group, you can use this link on the screen to join. And more details about the Power BI challenge will also show up. Also, after the Power BI challenge, we'll also be starting an SQL challenge that will assign different topics to different people in the group to speak about. It doesn't matter whether you know the topic before or not. The purpose is for us to learn from each other and also learn new things, right? And last year, by God's grace, we had some achievements. Last year, we did a data engineering class. Ola was the tutor throughout, and it was a lot of stuff. And people are still referring to that class and saying, "Wow, it was wonderful," right? And some people also got jobs through this platform. We've seen people getting referred for gigs through this platform. And there's also a lot of good plans that we have going forward. And this is not the starting point. So once again, everyone, I want to appreciate you for staying by for a whole 1 hour plus to hear from Deinma. See you again in our next webinar. God bless you all. See you at the top until we all win. Thank you.
Yeah, bye everyone.
All right, thank you, everyone. Bye.
See you at the top.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.